If you think the Bears should trade for a wide receiver, type me in the comments, because coming up on today's show, we're going to take a look at some wide receiver trade targets that the Bears could pursue between now and the NFL trade deadline. So if you're someone out there that says, hey, let's get Justin Fields some help at wide receiver, type me down below. I better see hundreds, hell, thousands of them in the comments section. Type me if you think the Bears should go out and trade for a receiver. You're watching Bears Now by Chat Sports, and I am your host, Harrison Graham. Today's show presented by Roan. The commuter shirt, this dress shirt I'm rocking, comes from Roan, and I am a very big fan of it because it's comfortable, it's versatile, and most importantly, it's breathable. In the past, I've had dress shirts that I'm just not a fan of. They're just not comfortable. They're stiff. This one's nice and stretchy with their 4 combination fabric there that they have. Roan.com/chat, 20% off, plus free shipping. Get going with Roan today. We'll tell you a little bit more about them later on in the show. Love the 4-way stretch fabric. Look at this thing. Stretchy. Feels good. I can play golf in this thing. Roan.com/chat, 20% off with promo code chat. All right, wide receiver trade targets coming up on today's show here on Chicago Bears. Now, I think we saw against Minnesota that, yeah, the first month, Justin Fields was just as much to blame as anyone else, but it was on display that you got to get this guy some help. I'd like to see them make a move before the deadline. I think for sure if he's going to be the quarterback next year, which I think he will be, you got to make moves this offseason. But I still think there's moves to be made this year. There's at least something out there for this team if they want to do that. You got Mooney, who I like. You got St. Brown, who's doing some things. Hopefully N'Keal Harry and Velus Jones can contribute. But Pettis, Smith-Marsette, Pringle's hurt. You need more. You need more. Let's be honest. So kind of 2 categories of guys. These are the more realistic trade targets. Then we'll look at some longer shot guys that could be available depending on what happens over the next few weeks. Denzel Mims with the New York Jets. And keep in mind, these aren't guys that are going to come in and have 1,200 yards. But Denzel Mims at 6'3", 220 pounds, can't even get on the field with the Jets. I don't know what the problem is. He's been a healthy scratch all year. I think he needs a fresh start. Balled out in the final preseason game. I get it. It's preseason. I know. Harrison, it's preseason. Who cares? I'm with you. But a 6th or a 7th round pick for a guy with that size and speed combination, you can't tell me these guys we're going to talk about here can't give you more than Dante Pettis. Denzel Mims can stretch the field. He's got strong hands. Let's go. Let's get him to a place where he actually gets playing time. I don't know why Jets GM Joe Douglas won't trade him, but at the end of the day, that's where we're at right now. Chase Claypool with the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is kind of an interesting one. Couple things to monitor here when it comes to Chase Claypool and the potential of him getting traded. Number one, you look at their depth chart. Deontay Johnson, they already paid him. They're committed to him. George Pickens, who the Bears could have drafted but didn't, is getting better every week. Chase Claypool in year 3 of a 4-year rookie contract, the Steelers like him, but maybe they're looking long-term because that team's not winning this year. They're probably going to be trade deadline sellers. Maybe they're saying, okay, let's trade Claypool. Pickens can be our number 2. Let's get something back because they may not pay Claypool in a couple of years. They may not pay him in a couple of years. So Steelers could sell. Pittsburgh has Johnson and Pickens. Maybe a team like Chicago and say, hey, we'll give you a 3rd, 4th-round pick for Chase Claypool. Get him off your books. He can come play here with Justin Fields. Just a thought, something to consider if you are the Bears. Would you trade a 3rd-round pick for Chase Claypool? He got drafted in the 3rd round. I think that would be proper value for him. Y for yes. Type in for no. Let me know in the comments if you would trade a 3rd-round pick for Claypool. How about Curtis Samuel, who we're going to get a close-up look against the Commanders on Thursday Night Football. Was injured last year, didn't do much, but this year he's been playing pretty well. We'll see him on Thursday, so we'll get a closer look of him as we creep closer to that trade deadline, which is coming here in about 3 weeks. Curtis Samuel this year putting up pretty good numbers. 32 catches, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not a lot of big plays. He's kind of been a scat player for them, which is kind of what he is. He's not like a pure receiving route runner guy. He's kind of what we think Velus Jones could be, but a little bit smaller. Gadget guy that can do some things at receiver as well. You can get creative with this guy, though. Jet sweeps. You can line him up at running back. He's run the ball, I think, 8 or 9 times already this year. He He can be a return man for you if you want to split those duties with Velus Jones. Not a number one type, but a guy that would come in and contribute right away. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I like the idea of Curtis Samuel if Washington becomes a team that sells. You beat Washington Thursday, they're 1-5. Good chance they're going to be sellers at the trade deadline. Bears Now is presented by Roan. I've never been into dress shirts. You guys know me. I'm rocking T-shirts, the FGB shirt that we got, occasionally a golf polo. You never see me in dress shirts like this. But with Roan, you know why I'm back in the dress shirt game? Because this is a breathable, flexible, versatile shirt. I actually feel good, like we're looking good, because I've always been conflicted in the past because I'm like, Harrison, rocking T-shirts all the time. Yeah, you're comfortable, but you don't look great. I've always chosen comfort over how I look. Now I can do both. These are stretchy with their fabric that they have. You can rock these at work. You can you can wear it at happy hour. Like a lot of time I get up and go to work. If I'm wearing one of my old dress shirts that's kind of stiff, not that comfortable, when I get off, I want to change shirts right away and go to the bar and watch the football game or whatever's on. But now I'll just wear this straight to the bar. It saves me a stop, saves me gas money, so I don't have to go home. Get going with Roan today. Very comfortable shirts. You can golf in these. Seriously, roll up the sleeves like I have. They're comfortable. They're breathable. Roan.com/chat. Promo code chat going to get you 20% off. And here's a little benefit of these dress shirts as well. Another reason I haven't liked dress shirts in the past, but now I do with Roan. These are machine washable. Washed it the other day. You air dry them. Don't throw them in your dryer. Machine washable. Air dry them. Perfectly good as new. Wrinkle-free. We're ready to go. Roan.com/chat. 20% off with promo code chat. All right, Robbie Anderson. That's another name. And again, this first grouping I think are players that could be more attainable than this next grouping. Jay Glazer of Fox Sports tweeted this out on Monday. We talked about this when we talked about DJ Moore, who's probably more of a long shot teaser. We'll hit him in a bit. He says teams will be calling the Panthers trying to trade some of their players as they hope Carolina will look to stockpile picks as they rebuild. That, of course, after Carolina fired Matt Rule. That team may go into full fire sale mode. They might be willing to trade guys for 75, 80 cents on the dollar just to get more draft picks for the new regime that they'll be shifting toward this offseason. Robbie Anderson for like a fifth? He's like a number 2 caliber receiver. He's not great. He's a 2 at worst, 3 at worst, 2 at best. Not bad. It's better than what you got after Darnell Mooney. KJ Hamler, who's kind of been a bit of a disappointment, but when I've watched Denver this year, he's actually been one of the guys who's been getting open. And let's be honest, my man is pissed. Did you watch Thursday Night Football last week? If Bears-Commanders is worse than Broncos-Colts, then we got a problem. KJ Hamler on the last play of the game when the Broncos went for the win was wide open. He spiked his helmet. He was screaming. He was pissed. Maybe he wants a fresh start because it's been so frustrating for him with some injuries and now Russell Wilson not getting him the ball. Come to Chicago. Big Ten guy, played against Justin Fields in the Big Ten. You never know. Could see it being a potential fit for KJ Hamler. Don't miss out. Subscribe to the channel. If they make a move, we're going to have you covered here on Bears Now. If they trade for a receiver, we'll probably be live. At worst, we'll have a video for you guys. YouTube.com/Bears Now. Join the movement and hit that sub button today. All right, some longer shot wide receiver targets. Guys that could be available, but it seems less likely. Tyler Lockett with Seattle. He was connected to trade rumors in the offseason, but Seattle's been competitive. Pete Carroll doesn't want to punt on this season. If you want Tyler Lockett, you should want Seattle to lose 3 or 4 in a row here before the trade deadline. They're 2-3 right now. If they're 2-5, 2-6, maybe that makes it a possibility before the trade deadline hits before week 9. But right now, I don't think he'll get dealt. But man, he's a great route runner. He's still very productive in his early 30s. I would certainly take him here in Chicago. DJ Moore, who we've talked about. Carolina extended him this offseason, so it makes it tricky. But if they decide to go into full fire sale mode, this is a guy you can get, and this is a guy that is so consistent. Look at his last 3 years prior to this year. I mean, he basically averages 1,175 yards and 4 touchdowns in a bad offense. I think he can be more productive with Justin Fields. He is a vertical threat. Justin Fields is a vertical thrower. He gets open. He's a tier 2 number 1 wide receiver. He's not Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, but he's in that second tier of number 1s. He's a good player. If Moore is attainable without trading a first-round pick, I'm in. I would trade a second for DJ Moore. I would probably trade a second and a day 3 pick for DJ Moore. Second and a fifth, I'd probably do it because he comes in here. He's under team control through 2025, I believe. I think that's right. He's got 3 years after this year with that new deal. Come on, man. Like, if he's gettable, go get him. He's young still. He's like 26. DJ Moore can help this team for many years to come. I would absolutely do this if I was Ryan Poles. Are there any receivers you would trade a first-round pick for? Now, sure, if Seattle says, yeah, we'll trade DK Metcalf, maybe I'd change my mind. But, again, what if the Bears are picking at like number 7? Do you want to trade the number 7 overall pick for a receiver? I don't know. Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. If you can get DJ Moore or one of these other guys for less than a first, I'm definitely considering it. All right, Tyler Boyd. I think you guys asked me about him in a mailbag recently, and it got me thinking. I was like, made some good points. It's a long shot because Cincinnati's trying to win right now. They're 2-3, but all 3 of their losses have come on the last play of the game. I think game-winning kicks in most of those games. But he is a wide receiver 3. He's behind T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. He's their number 3. Bengals aren't going to be able to pay everybody. They're going to have to pay Joe Burrow after this year probably, or after the next year whenever they extend him. And Boyd could be a cap casualty in the future. So maybe they're like, okay, we'll trade Boyd now to clear some cap and maximize his value. He's Mr. Consistency. He's not a number 1, but he's a good number 2. He's stuck as a number 3 right now. 2,000-yard seasons before Chase and Higgins got there, but he still gets you, 60, 70 catches, over 800 yards. I think he can give you those numbers here in Chicago next to Darnell Mooney. That would kind of be a co-1A, 1B situation, really more of 2 number 2s, but it would certainly help your receiving core quite a bit. How about Marvin Jones? He's a little bit older with Jacksonville, but Jags are starting to teeter a bit. Pretty bad performance against Houston. Maybe they go into sell mode. Remember, they threw some money at some younger receivers like Zay Jones, Christian Kirk. Maybe Marvin Jones is the guy they'd be willing to move. He's 32-33, but he's still good. He had over 100 yards last week. He's still a good player. Day 3 pick, like a 4th, 5th for Marvin Jones. You have him for a couple years. He knows the NFC North, which with his time in Detroit. For a day 3 pick, I would consider this. He's a good route runner. He's been a number 2, a good one for a while. I like Marvin Jones quite a bit. I would definitely consider this. I would really consider Brandin Cooks, too, and Davis Mills has been struggling a bit. We saw the Texans a few weeks ago play at Soldier Field. You want to talk consistent? Brandin Cooks is the most underrated receiver in the league. He's still only 29 years old, and he already has 6 1,000-yard seasons. He's still youngish, and he's still productive. I like Brandin Cooks a lot, and I think he's the type of receiver. Honestly, I've comped Darnell Mooney to him quite a bit. Like, if Darnell Mooney reaches his potential, it looks like Brandin Cooks, like a low-end number 1. That's what Cooks has been. He's an incredible number 2. He's a low-end number 1, like a tick below a DJ Moore type, I would say. At his peak, about DJ Moore. You bring him in here with Mooney, that's a fun 1-2 punch. I would not mind that whatsoever. Again, long shot, but you never know. Name a receiver that the Bears should trade for. 10 guys. I just gave you 10 guys. 5 more reasonable ones, 5 longer shot ones, but I want to see Justin Fields with some good talent around him. Give him a chance. I'd like to see them make a move here. We'll see what happens. Let us know who you would like to see the Bears trade for at receiver. And subscribe because, again, if the Bears do make a trade at wide receiver, we're going to have you covered here on Chicago Bears Now. So hit that sub button and let us know who you want the Bears to trade for before the deadline.